All right, welcome to Hero Fuel, guys. This is Dr. Zaino with Hero Fuel, which just in a few minutes a day will fuel your mind, your body, and your future. And today we're going to be talking about how to de-hypnotize yourself. Very important, de-hypnotize. And so if this is the first time you're on, it just hit a number 1, or just write number 1 if you're watching this live, and write a number 2 if you're watching this on the replay. Also, let us know your name, let us know where you're from. So if this is the first time you've met me, I'm Dr. Zaino. One Mr. America, one Mr. Universe, beat a life-threatening terminal disease. If you ever heard my stories, just really had a lot of journeys in my life. I built one of the largest wellness clinics in the world, helping hundreds of thousands of people, and really able to check off all those boxes. But found out that even though you check off all the boxes, there's always another level. There's always new desires to expand. And so this whole idea of checking off boxes, you could still check them off and still be unfulfilled because our lives were never about checking off boxes. It's nice to have goals. It's nice to have desires, but understand that as you check off those boxes, then there's a natural expansion evolution to want and desire more. And so then we started the I Am Hero project. It was just the next evolution of what we're doing. And my purpose is to resurrect heroes from the complacency of their secret identity by living heroic lives once again through expressing and experiencing true love now in every area of their lives. All right, so that's what we do with the I Am Hero project. So today we're going to be talking about de-hypnotizing yourself. A lot of you really enjoyed my post, Brainwash Yourself for Success, right? Because we're so brainwashed in society, right? Teachers, preachers, media, institutions, parents, their belief systems, the belief systems that were passed down, movies, everything we see, even social media, we start to live out other people's values. We start to see our life through their lens, and then after a while, we're just a counterfeit version of a lot of things. And we are actually taught and told what to think and what to believe and what to do. But here's the issue. We never gave ourselves the permission to remember and allow ourselves to introspect and ask ourselves, do I find truth in that? Do I believe that? Does that make sense to me? And how do I feel about that? We're never given that type of chance to do. And that's a huge problem. So that creates that secret identity, which is that less than watered down version of your truth. But also, we have to look at that it actually hypnotizes you. We could literally be hypnotized by society to believe and act a certain way. Like, hey, like I told you, you're going to work, you're going to go to school, you're going to get a degree. After you degree, then you're going to get a career, and then get some career with good benefits, and then you got to get married, and then you got to have kids, get kids. And then you're just told to here's the next step to do in life. And you're really hypnotized to do all that because that's what everybody else has been doing. And you know that if you do that, you're not different. And then you have something to compare it to, right? Because you're like, hey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Check, 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 check. But at the end of the day, you could find yourself depressed, unfulfilled, numb, because you were always denying your truth. And so that's why when we talked about we were brainwashed or hypnotized, basically, and that's like in this trance, how do we de-hypnotize ourselves? So this is the ways you de-hypnotize yourself, or like I say, brainwash yourself for success. And that's really the whole key. It's protecting your heart. It's protecting your mind. It's protecting your ears. It's protecting you from people, what they're saying and speaking into your life. And, that's why it's so important that when you start to bring these things into our life, like maybe you protect yourself from what you watch, and then maybe you switch that for things that are more edifying or actually developing skills or things that are good for you. Or maybe you switch TV for reading things that you feel attracted and drawn to. And as you read, or do these things, questions will come up. I remember a really big pivotal time for me was probably between 33 and 35. And I had some friends that were diagnosed with cancer. We lived the same life, great leaders, and they beat it. But when they beat it, it's like, I don't want to do that. So I did all the protocols. I ate raw. I did all the detox protocols and methods they did. But when I was eating raw and doing all these detoxifications and saunas and enemas and you name it, like I had a lot of time to myself because I'm doing all these like detox protocols. And when I was there, then I was able to read that I never had a chance to read, and they were more like books like focusing on introspecting. And I noticed that during those 2 years, every time I did a detox method or something was going on or fasting, I would be different. Something would shift. And the shifting was happening because I started asking questions. I started questioning things. I started questioning things that I was taught my whole life and said, you know what? I don't know if I would call that a truth. I always had a question about this. And so it kind of led my own life, my own questions led me on this journey to really kind of find my own truth. And you started auditing your life. you started auditing that, like, where did I get this belief from? And you realize you got that belief from something that was rooted in nothing. And then you started questioning, which was good. You know, you're seeking. And then as you question, you start to remember. You start to remember all those childlike qualities that we always had. And you start like kind of like awakening. You start coming to, you start realizing, and like, it's like dehypnotize. You kind of like wake out of it. You know, something you read or an audio, because when I started reading things that were more, let's say, spiritual or introspective or on meditation or and even on personal development, because I was reading those things and I kind of got into that because I was drawn to that, then guess what? Then those podcasts were more about that. And then, you know, maybe things I would watch on YouTube were dealing in that. So I kind of started bathing or brainwashing myself in these areas, and it created more and more questions. And from there, it kind of like, I would wake up, you know, I'd be like, holy crap, like, that's weird, you know, and like, why didn't I think of that? So as I asked the questions, as I started going or being attracted to things that I felt led to start doing or investigating or researching, then as the questions, I asked more questions, and more questions led to more, and then truth started coming out. And I know it was the truth because I really went on how I felt. I'm like, that feels good. That feels right. And it was really being reintroduced to the most important relationship of your life, which is yourself. And a lot of times we go through life, we don't even know who we are. I mean, that's why you could be a celebrity with millions of dollars and people will love you and still kill yourself, because you're living out some false persona, and you never really give you a chance to say, well, who am I? What am I? And allow yourself to enjoy that process, to ask the questions. It's okay to be confused. Say, well, I don't know which way to go on this, but I'll put it there and I'll just allow this journey to get me there. So in that, as you're reading those things and protecting your heart and mind, and you ask those questions, you're going to start hearing things or seeing things. And for a second, it's going to feel like you woke up, like you kind of like snapped out of something. You're like, whoa, whoa. You know, just like when someone told me, when I had, because we get hypnotized, we don't realize it. I remember one time, like, I thought I tried it all, and someone said, well, you didn't try it all, because if you tried it all, you would have had your goal, basically. I'm like, oh my God, he's right. Like, it was just like he snapped me out of it. I was like, crap, he's right. And then those little moments start to happen. So what I noticed is when I would watch movies, a line would be said in a movie, and I would get emotional because I was searching. See, when you start asking the questions to find your truth, then all around you, you'll realize life was speaking to you the whole times. And that's the way you dehypnotize yourself. And when you start to wake up and dehypnotize yourself or brainwash yourself in the right methods, you'll start seeing things that were always in front of you, but you were unaware to see it because you were in a trance. You know, when my kids are playing video games, I'm like, dude, hello, I'm speaking to you. They're totally zoned in a trance. And, you know, you snap them out of it. You're like, huh? And so that's the same thing that happens in their life, but we don't realize it. And here's my big thing with the whole Hero Project. People may live their entire life in a trance, hypnotized, and they never were able to really experience the life they were always created to have. So these are things I want you to do. So give that a try today. Start protecting your heart, your mind, what you listen to, the people you surround. So start protecting that, audit that, and then you know what? Allow yourself to start asking questions. And you know what? Remember, I always say this before you go in here's my concept. I love it. I'm so glad I was blessed with asking the question and I received this. And it's a great way to enter anything you do, because we don't realize it, but we have so much guilt and so much shame and so much judgment from the way we were raised, especially if you guys were raised in religion. We have so much guilt, shame, and judgment that I have a little thing in my head. It's like I go in a room, like this room right here, right? I say, okay, I'm in this room, and this room is clean and it's safe. And I go in this room, there's no right and there's no wrong. There's no good and there's no evil, and there's no judgment and there's no shame. Now ask your question. Because a lot of times we don't want to ask the question. We're like, but, and we think about other people, guilt, shame, what we were supposed to do. And we don't allow ourselves to even ask the question to get the answer, because we judge the question before it came out of us. But if you put yourself in a safe place, and you know what? There's no right or wrong. There's no good or evil. There's no judgment or shame. Now ask my question. And I ask my question, and I feel safe to do that. And when you start doing that, that's when you start waking up and you get dehypnotized and you start finding your own truth and enjoy it. And how do you know you're there? It's going to feel different. And that's all I could tell you. It's going to feel, you have to practice it. It's like a muscle, right? You got to practice it. Then you'll start realizing that's good. Or, ooh, that feels heavy. No. And that's allowing your heroic guidance system to lead you. Well, guys, appreciate you so much. I got to jump on a call. Thank you so much. This was Hero Fuel. Tonight I'll be doing Hero Lab. And that's when we could actually interact and get on the calls and co-create together. Have an amazing day. I'll see you soon.